a college football fantasy football league. It's happening. Cary Chow alongside Chris Lowe. Our counterparts, Tom Luganbill, Heather Dinich, Mark Schlabach, and Brad Edwards have drafted the ultimate fantasy football team. Here's what they had to pick: 1 quarterback, 2 running backs, 2 receivers, a tight end, an offensive line unit, a defensive line unit, a linebacker unit, and 1 defensive back unit. Now, Chris, we're going to grade how well they did. Some of the quarterbacks that were drafted: Bryce Petty, Davis Webb, Jameis Winston, and Marcus Mariota. But forget about who the best player is. Who's going to put up the best stats?
Bryce Petty. I mean, he plays in an offense there at Baylor with a lot of guys around him. They throw the football. They run a ton of plays. It's almost like an Xbox type offense when you look at the numbers. And Antoine Goodley, a guy that was outstanding last year. When you got weapons around you, returning guys, I like Bryce Petty to put up the best numbers.
When it comes to the defense, who has the single best defensive unit?
I got to go with Heather. I think Heather's is probably the best defensive unit. I love the Oregon defensive backs, their backfield, and you win up front defensively. I can't say that more emphatically. Clemson's defensive line, it's deep, they're experienced, and boy, they got a lot of talent.
And speaking of Clemson's defensive line, you said one of the most underrated players in the entire country.
Grady Jarrett right there in the middle of that defensive line. Everybody talks about Vic Beasley. He's an excellent football player. Corey Crawford, another good football player, but Jarrett's the one that makes it go right there in the middle.
All right, give me some surprises. Who should have been drafted and wasn't?
Well, I think when you start at the quarterback position, Brett Hundley, to me, is going to have a monster season. And what about those UCLA linebackers? They've got 2 guys, Miles Jack, Eric Kendricks, both, I think, are All-American type players. UCLA would be right there at the top, I think.
All right, what about offensive line unit?
Offensive line, I think the South Carolina Gamecocks. 3 guys coming back that I think all will be pros, starting with A.J. Cann at offensive guard. Sean Elliott, their offensive line coach, has done a terrific job. I think the Gamecocks, and there's a lot of good offensive lines in the SEC. To me, though, they'd be right there near the top.
Yeah, and if you have a good offensive line, you can succeed.
Absolutely.
Chris, how come we weren't invited to this league?
Let's do our own fantasy deal. Let's me and you do it. How about that?
I like it. Me and you. It's going to happen. Be sure to check out ESPN.com to see if it actually does happen. For Chris Lowe, I'm Cary Chow. Thanks for watching.